Said sugar make it slow. We'll come together fine. All we need is just a little patience. I really don't know why there's this 1980s theme to my YouTube channel. I am a 90s man through and through, but is what it is, I suppose. Traders, welcome to one of the more important videos I think I'm going to do. I can say that with confidence. Now, looking through my notes, I can already tell this is probably going to be the longest video I ever do, which is ironic, right? The patience video is going to be the longest. But I think we're going to have a little bit of fun with this one if you just stick through it. In this video, there's reasons why you lack patience. Much of it is your fault. Some of it is not. And we need to break those things down. I cannot give you patience. It's just not possible for me to do that for you. But we can point some things out, and maybe that can help down the road. We're going to talk about the anatomy of a scam. There are many different scams out there, especially in the financial world, and there's one. Well, I think pretty much all of them prey on people's impatience and their desperation, but I think there is one in particular that is just fascinating, and I don't think anybody understands how it happens, and I think it's important that we talk about it. I think it fits. We need to, above anything in this video, talk about how the long game is superior to the short game in every possible way. It's the game nobody wants to play, but it's the only way out. And if you don't understand that, and you don't play the long game, pretty much every video of mine you have watched up until this point is a waste of time. So we need to talk about that. And then this is something that I probably could cover in a podcast, but I think it fits here really well. A lot of you don't have a ton of money just sitting around to trade Forex with and actually try to make a comfortable living off of the gains. And so I've touched on this a few times before, but if you stick around towards the end, I'm going to tell you exactly the path you need to take from almost nothing to being able to actually do this for a living. There are multiple ways, and we need to be very, very realistic about this, because when we're not, and we put these huge unrealistic expectations on us, that's how we get scammed. That's how we do things out of our zone, out of our system. And that is how we lose all of our money. So, as you guys know, we've been over this before, but it's always good to touch on it, especially when we do a psychology video. Money management and trading psychology are 1A and 1B. They're the most important concepts in all of Forex trading. All of trading anything, really, but especially here. And then 3 is going to be technical analysis. And we've talked about this before. Everybody loves this. These are my most popular videos almost every time. Sometimes per day, they will get 5 to 6 times the volume as any of these videos. So to those people, thank you for bumping up my numbers, but you're doing it wrong. The real killers on this channel play in this sandbox right here. So let's get to it. Now, I did a podcast a while ago saying what the 3, I guess, psychological things you need to have in order to really succeed. And the first one, if you remember, was initiative. I didn't like making that video. That's probably the only video I didn't like to make, because in the back of my mind, the whole time, I was like, God, if I got to tell these people to actually get up off their ass and trade, what are we even doing here? Why are they even watching? I don't like people that sit around and don't take initiative. I don't have a lot of respect for people like that, and it seems like I was making a video for them, so I just kind of felt weird inside making that one. But all the other ones I loved making, in particular the discipline video. I really do think if I was just judging myself and my channel, this is going to go down as one of the best videos I've ever done, because it affects everybody. We've all fallen prey to bad discipline, and there's really never been anybody out there to really expose a lot of these things that we do and really call it out and say, hey, look, if you keep doing this, you're never going to get anywhere. So let's recognize what these things are so we can stop doing them later. And I think that's just going to be probably the most helpful video that I've ever put out there, because you can always come back to it as well when you feel yourself slipping. And this video is going to be the same way. Even those of you in the YouTube comment section that have told me that you're very patient and you understand the long game, I don't 100% believe you. I 90% believe you, but I think there's always this sense of urgency that we have that can either be positive or negative. So let's dive deeper into that. So do you all remember the Marshmallow Test? Do you guys know what that is? So if you don't, back in the 60s and 70s at the University of Stanford, they gave these kids a test, and they said, okay, we're going to put this gross-ass marshmallow right in front of your face, and you can either eat it now or wait 15 minutes, and then if you can do that without eating it, we'll give you a second one. So it was a test really of patience and discipline. And the whole idea was to track their progress 20 some odd years down the road to see, okay, did those kids who had the ability, even at a young age, to delay gratification, did they come up more successful in life than the kids that couldn't wait? Because the original hypothesis was, yes, they would. And they were actually right. They said by the time they got into their late 20s, those who had waited the longest during the Marshmallow Test had a lower BMI, which is body mass index, so they're in better shape, better sense of self-worth, pursue their goals more effectively, and cope better with stress and frustration. And those results wouldn't surprise me at all, because this kid probably went on to do great things, and this child is probably in jail somewhere. I mean, look at him. He fell apart over a marshmallow. Delayed gratification is everything. The universe has a way of rewarding people that take part in delayed gratification on a daily basis. And the universe also has a way of punishing people who are instant gratification monkeys. Billionaires, business moguls, successful investors, successful traders. Obese people, drug addicts, people with a bunch of illegitimate children, porn addicts, video game addicts, all fall under this category here. So right off the bat, I mean, you get to really pick a side here. You can get with this or you can get with that. Now you're going to say right away, well, I want this. I like this a lot better than I want this. But the problem was when it came to Forex trading, you were all about this, weren't you? I guarantee you were, because we all were. And that's a big reason why it didn't work out. So let's go over the reasons why. Now, for starters, our culture has a lot to do with it. We're just naturally predisposed to instant gratification nowadays. That's just how we have evolved. Back in the day, you had to work all day just to eat and stay warm. And now everything just comes to us right away. There are very few situations in life where we really have to play the long game. And instant gratification is just what we've become used to. I hate to use this word, but we've pretty much become victims of our culture. Problem is, the market does not care about this. It does not care about you. You are not allowed to think this way anymore. But it's tough because we just naturally do anyway. And as far as the people out there promoting Forex products especially, there's a lot of money in it for them not to be very realistic with you in terms of expectations. A lot of times they won't actually just boldface say it, but they love to show you the results, whether it's monetary or pips or just a really nice looking chart of what could be, because it is in their best interest to show you that. So you sign up for their product. So you follow their Twitter feed, whatever the case is. And when it comes down to it, from the start, Forex education fucked us all up. Most of the things we learned, and especially most of the examples we were shown, didn't end up happening in real life, but we sure as hell thought they were going to. Let's go deeper into this. So with Forex education, first off, they always put that leverage thing right up front. They talk about leverage early. Not in the way that I do in my podcast episode that talked about this. I think it was episode 8, where you get a much more realistic view on what this is. But they said, hey, guy, girl, that doesn't have enough money to play the stock market, here's what's really cool about Forex. For every $1 you put in the market, you can get up to 50 in the game. Depending on what country you're from, that can go up to 100, 500, even higher than that. Now that's a great, great selling point, isn't it? For every dollar I put in, you're going to give me 50 to play with? Oh, well, gee whiz, that sounds like a really great way to go from a little bit of money to a lot of money in a very short amount of time. So they plant this seed in your head early, and then it's all over from there, because what do they do after that? Show you atypical example after atypical example of these stupid tools that don't work that way in real life. So tell me if you've seen this before. I'm sure you have, or some variation of it, to where you see this. Because remember, you've never seen these things before. You've seen charts, but they always seem very daunting, very hard to read, like only professionals who went to school for a long time actually knew how to read these things. And then Forex education demystified this for you. But like a lot of people, some people who we're going to talk about in a moment, they preyed off of your ignorance. Maybe not on purpose. Who knows? I don't know their motivations. But when you see things like this, all you say to yourself is, wow, look at this trend line. All I have to do is wait for price to break it, and that means we are in a trend going the other way. All I have to do is enter right here, and I get to have all of this. Or I can, if I miss that, I can just wait for it to break this support and resistance line here and still get all of that. How awesome is that? That's all I got to do, is just put these lines on a chart. Or instead, maybe, I can just wait for these two lines to cross like they did right here, and then I can get all of this goodness right here. I'm going to ignore the fact that this was an obvious exit point, but I can get all of this right here, and then as soon as the lines cross the other way, whee, I get all of this. Oh man, that's what reading a chart is? No bullshit. After I learned how to read charts, and I saw how easy it was, and I saw these tools, I called my mom, and I said, look, it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of how soon. Within the next 2 years, I'm going to be able to pay off your house. Because I'm going to take the money I have, I'm going to turn it into this, I won't have to work anymore, and everything is going to be great. And I have a feeling, maybe not to that degree, but I have a feeling a lot of you felt that way too. Because guess what nobody ever talked about when you were first learning Forex? Never talked about things like patience. Why would they? Doesn't apply to them. You wouldn't buy their follow-up products if you had that harsh reality that this is going to take a while. So instead of being realistic and pragmatic, you were freaking juiced. I mean, you were ready to go out there, put all your money into a Forex account and get to work building that account, making that account skyrocket, just like all the examples you saw when you learned. But then what actually happened? Every time. Maybe it didn't happen right away. It probably should have. Almost the worst thing you can do in this situation is actually make some good money at the start. Because the feeling you have when that real money actually starts coming in for the first time is so euphoric, like you cannot be told any different anymore. You're never wrong. And that's actually worse than losing all your money right away. But the truth is, in the end, we lose. And most of us lose everything we put in. But the problem is now is we still want to play. But we no longer really trust ourselves to make money. But we had the seed plant on our heads that everything's going to be amazing. And we have found the Holy Grail in Forex trading. And we want to stick with it. But we're desperate in a way now because we had all these thoughts of what's going to be. And now some of that got taken away from us. And we don't want that. We want those dreams back. And what does that do? That allows us to be ripe for the picking. There are people out there, there are groups out there that promise the results that we thought we were going to get in the first place but couldn't. And these scumbag people all of a sudden become our white knights, and we will pay them whatever they ask us to pay. And of course, because at its core it's a scam, we end up losing. Again, which is really bad. A lot of us might just give up. I haven't known too many people to do that. I think most people just fall in love with this so quick that they want to keep at it. But some people just give up and go away, and they say things like, well, don't trade Forex because you're going to lose all your money. No, you are going to lose all your money. The rest of us want more, and we're willing to do whatever it takes to get there. But you do have people who just flat out give up. And sometimes in the end, they're the ones that come out further ahead than the rest of us, because the rest of us will just keep on losing or keep on continuing to get scammed over and over again. Never, ever underestimate the possibility of hope and the desire for that ticket out, I guess is the best way to put it. It's really, really powerful. What's even more powerful than that is the euphoria that comes over you when you actually start winning. And the combination of these two things make us the perfect target for scammers, because we realize as soon as we get our ass kicked that we really didn't know a whole lot about trading to start with. We thought we did, but we got a harsh reality. And now we have a problem, because we have to actually get good at this, and that's going to take a while, and we don't have the patience for that. And that lack of patience leads to desperation, which is horrible. Think back in your life, those moments where you did things out of desperation, whether it was you were desperate for love or money, or even just as simple as somebody else's approval, and you were desperate for it. What did you do? You overreached. You overcompensated. You did things you normally wouldn't do, and it cost you. And then a lot of times these scammers hold on to clients even after they've lost their money 5 times over, because in the end, some people just want to believe in something. And scammy people are really good at selling people things that don't work, and are really good at just keeping them on the line. Now, you might sit there and think this doesn't apply to you, and you might be right, but there are scams out there that you probably don't even know how they work. So let's dive into one. I think we'll have some fun with this. This is a scam that's been going on for a very long time. I first saw it in sports betting. It is all over the place in sports betting. And then I'm sure over time it has made its way over to stock trading, and then eventually into Forex trading as well. I'll bet the majority of you have never seen anything like this. It doesn't really have an official name. I call it the dual line scam. Because in sports betting, the people who do this are accused of giving out dual lines to people. So we'll go a little deeper into what that actually is. But first, stop me if you've seen any of these. These are some of the claims scammy people make, and they normally end up in like YouTube comments for people who don't moderate their spam really well. I moderate mine tight. You guys know I care about the user experience. I do not want that stuff floating around on my channel. And every once in a while, I'll intentionally let one go just so you can see how ridiculous this is. But some of the claims they make, and I see them almost every day. Sometimes there's spam that doesn't make any claims, but a lot of times you'll see something like this. Turn $500 into $5,000 in a week. That's what? That's a 1,000% return. Week after week after week. Oh, man. The possibilities, or a 100% weekly return, by comparison, seems a lot more possible, but still completely ridiculous and unattainable. Or something like this, 3,000 pips a month. Wow, that's a lot of pips. Until you consider they're probably trading things like silver, which in one good silver trade you can net 3,000 pips. Just those pips really aren't worth a whole lot. But never mind that, all you see is the 3,000 and you get really excited. So these are some of the claims that you are going to see. Now let me show you how to actually scam somebody using the dual line scam. So here is the playbook. First, you got to make one of those claims. 10xing your money is a really good one, because you're going to find some stupid people if you claim to do something like that. And so find about 12 suckers. Now you're going to find more. What I'm about to show you is going to net you some really good money, but just know that these people lure in way more than just a small handful of people per round. Now, you charge about $1,000 a month. If you're going to turn my $500 into $5,000, I am more than happy to give you $1,000 of it. And you can explain it that way too. Be like, look, I'm going to turn your 500 into 5,000. The least you can do is give me 1,000 of that. You're still going to come out way ahead. And a lot of people are going to agree. And so you max out your leverage just as high as you can possibly go with it. Tell your clients to do the same. and then pretend like you have this inside info on a news event or some currency, information that nobody else has, and you know exactly what it's about to do. And because you have this information and nobody else does, there is absolutely no way that this trade you're about to give out can possibly lose. And then the punchline is, you end up giving out opposite sides. Now, what do I mean by this? Let's find somebody to help us out with this. Blog readers. You know this guy, don't you? Yeah, Marco. Marco H. Scamalama Ding Dong is back. And he has a product to sell you. He always has a product to sell you. But he did everything that I just told you to do. And now he's got 12 suckers on the line. And his pair that he has all of this inside information on is the pound dollar. So after he finds, let's say, 12 people and gets them absolutely convinced that he knows what he's talking about, he collects their money. That's $12,000 for a month. And like I said, this is a small sample size. You can do this more than one time a month. Believe me, the people who do this in the sports betting world make more money than anybody who actually bets sports. They become wealthy beyond belief if you do this right. So now remember, none of these 12 people know each other, all right? So they can't talk amongst themselves. So they believe that whatever trade Marco's about to give them is the one that he is fully behind. The problem is out of those 12 people, he tells 6 of them to go long the pound dollar and 6 of them to go short the pound dollar. And then what happens? This big news event comes up and the price of the pound dollar does shoot one way or another. Let's say for this example, it goes long in a big way. This is awesome news for Marco. This is awesome news for all the people who went long. This is terrible news for all these poor suckers who went short. They have probably lost everything. They're going to badmouth him online. They're going to curse his name. Marco does not care. Somebody who actually cared about what they did would actually try to retain everybody. But Marco is more than fine to get rid of these 6 people completely, because he has these 6 people that are on cloud fucking 9. They worship the ground Marco walks on because they just doubled, tripled their money, maybe even more in some cases, depending on how far that thing ran. So now, here's where it gets really crazy. Marco's going to do this again with those 6 people. And let's say this time it's on a different currency pair. All right, so out of those 6 that went long and got a bunch of money, now it's going to be, let's say, the pound Aussie. Now he's got some really slick information on this. But he's going to deal dual lines, do opposite trades again by taking those 6 people and breaking them up into long and short. David, Holly, and Sergio are going to be told that Marco knows for a fact, because he knows everything, he's a damn prophet for all they know, that the pound Aussie is going to go long. And he's going to tell Oscar, Nigel, and Andre the same thing, only he says this time it's going to go short. He's going to wait for the news event to come out, and let's say it actually goes long in a big way. David, Holly, and Sergio now think that Marco is Jesus Christ, the Prophet Muhammad, and Bill Murray all wrapped up into one. He can do no wrong. David, Holly, and Sergio are going to give Marco $1,000 every month for a very long time, until their luck finally runs out. And even when it does, they might still be convinced to come back in, because that euphoria they felt of striking it rich in such a small window is so strong that they'll believe anything. They're going to chase that feeling. They're going to chase those possibilities. And the better Marco is at keeping these people on the line, the more money he's going to make. Now, conversely, even the folks over here, even though they lost big, maybe lost everything, you might be able to keep them on the line for a while too. This game's not necessarily over when it comes to Oscar, Nigel, and Andre. So not only do you have this idol worship over here that's just going to pay you money over and over again, you might still get a few more thousand out of these guys, especially if you're able to win again. Now, at some point, if you just keep doing this, you're going to lose everybody. But that's fine, because A, you've already made your money. B, you've already run this same scam 20 more times in the background with a bunch of other people that you don't care about. Now, you might be saying to yourself, I would never fall for something like this. Well, did you even know this thing existed? Did you know how it worked? If you were to get a bunch of testimonials from these people to give social proof, would you feel confident, risking 1,000 to make 5? And would you at least take the chance? You certainly might if you didn't have realistic expectations. But realistic expectations are very unpopular. Please know. There's not a lot of money in being realistic because that Fantasyland shit sells products like you wouldn't believe. And we've already gone over all the reasons why. Also, you got to understand, guys, Forex is not this winning lottery ticket. All right, people think it is right away. And I told you that education is so responsible for that in so many ways. And especially if you have some success early, you can never get this out of your head. And it takes a long time to get it out because in the end, remember the saying? The only time success comes before work is in the dictionary. Getting good at this takes a lot of work. I say it all the time, traders. It is a $4 to $5 trillion a day market. It is the most widely traded market in the world. If you think beating it at a consistent level is not going to take a lot of work behind it, you're out of your mind. Now, my goal on this channel is to have you take a lot less time than it did me to get to the level you want. But if you think that's still not going to take a lot of work and a lot of time, you are crazy. You must embrace the long game. There is nothing quick money about this. This is your life's work now. And as soon as you start making some real money, it's not over. You got to keep going and keep improving. Anybody that is promising you quick money does not have your best interests in mind. They are playing off of your ignorance, your desperation, your instant gratification, and your unrealistic expectations. If you are going to avoid people like this, you must embrace the long game. You do not have a choice. Do you understand me? Those who don't embrace the long game have zero chance in this game. And there are many ways to fail this. Let's look at some examples that I see all the time. First off, the people who just want everything handed to them. I've been over this before. These people have no chance of making anything. It would take a complete mindset reversal just to get them even close. Now, the people that come in and are super upset that I don't give them all of the answers to the test, even though it took me 10 years to obtain those answers, are idiots and losers. But we've been over this. But there are people also that are trying to put in the work and then get really upset that they're not getting results right away. So upset that they want to make it known, whether it's in the YouTube comments or I do get quite a few emails of people saying, hey, I've tried everything and it's just not working. I'm like, oh, really? Have you tried everything? What, have you tested like 50 indicators out of the 10,000 or so that are out there? Well, guess what? The first 50 I tested out didn't work either. But unlike you, I'm not weak and I'm not a quitter, and I kept going until I found something that did work. And then I still failed. I still lost it all. 3 times. But giving up is a surefire way to absolutely lose the long game, because now your game's over. And it didn't have to be. You could have kept going. God forbid you might have actually stumbled on something that could have been the anchor of everything you do for the rest of your trading life. But now you'll never find it because you quit. You must embrace the long game. You have no other choice. Now, while we're talking real here, let me dash some more of your expectations here in case you had these floating around your head, because we need to get rid of these right away. First off, the overall fail rate, no matter what you do, is still very, very high. That 99% is still the 99%. I'm going to do whatever I can to get you out of that, but there's certainly no guarantees behind that. I don't know you. I can already tell from people who send me emails that most of you are really bad at following directions, and a lot of people by default just don't have that killer instinct. So even the fail rate of people who religiously follow this channel is still going to be high. So just understand that the odds are still against you. We're going to do whatever we can over time to put those odds in your favor, but it's going to take a lot of work on your end. And something that I don't think people realize, I did a podcast on this, I don't think enough people actually listened to it or believed it. But the truth is this, you probably don't have enough money on you right now to prosper with just trading Forex. I mean, I'm sure this is what everybody would love to eventually do, but there's nothing realistic about doing this. I mean, people are like, oh, I got $10,000 in my trading account. What do you mean I can't, make a good living off that someday? I'm like, all right, well, walk me through it. How are you going to turn that $10,000 into something big enough to where you can actually live off of the gains you make comfortably? Just exactly how does that math work out? And also know that you're completely eliminating the chance of compound interest, which is the reason why most people invest their money in the first place. If you're not currently trading with probably about a mid six figures account, you're really wasting your time in a lot of ways. Not completely. We'll talk about that. But don't have any plans for the money you're going to make based on what you're trading right now. It's probably a very harsh reality, but if you sit down and do the math, you're going to be disappointed. And understand too, even when you start doing really well, even if you get hired by somebody, you're not going to make anything in the first couple years. Probably longer than that. Now, once I start explaining to you realistic routes that you can actually go, it's going to make more sense. Let's jump right into that. This is going to be, for most of you, the actual blueprint you need to follow. All right? If you are somebody especially like in a third world country, and you don't have a lot of money, there is a way out here. You're not screwed. And this is great. And like I said in podcast episodes before, I have mentioned this, but I'm going to lay it out for you right here in an actual visual. So, just so you know what your options are, if you want to actually trade Forex for a living and make a comfortable living off of it, you can start with about 300 grand. There's the old saying, the best way to make a small fortune is to start with a large fortune. But that doesn't apply to most of us. You can scam people. I've already shown you how to do that. I've actually shown you many ways to do this. I say this so you don't run into these scams yourself, but through the video and the blog, I've showed you how to sell an indicator, how to sell a robot, how to get a really popular Forex Twitter feed simply by telling people what just happened. And now you know the dual line scam, and that's in a long line of many scams that people run in this game. But yeah, look, I didn't say these were great options, but these are certainly options. Or you can trade other people's money, which for people who don't have a lot of money right now, this is going to be one of your best options. And we'll walk through how to do that. You can also go the route I took, trade another firm's money. Now, I will actually walk you through this. We'll gloss over this. This will be its own video down the line. But for now, let's touch on other people's money and how you can actually do that. So here's what you need to do. I've talked about this before, but let's go ahead and lay it all out. You need to do what we've been doing this whole time. Demo trade a system until you find that works really good, something that gives you about a 10 to 15% return. Because there are people out there, rich people, that don't know how to invest. They got burned in things like the housing market or the stock market or crypto or something like that, to where if they can find somebody who does well in a market like Forex, which is completely recession-proof, and can crank out 10 to 15% return, they will pay for that. Their money is just going to sit in a bank and gain 2 or 3% interest otherwise. There are people out there that will certainly take a chance on you and give you a little bit to start, and then if you can prove that you can give them a really nice return, more will come. I know people who do this. Rich people know other rich people, and that's how this whole thing kind of snowballs. So just know that these people are out there, but you need to find a system that works first, and that is exactly what this channel is dedicated to. So once you have done that, you actually need to get a good year's worth of results. People want an actual sample size. And you can do this on demo if you don't have a lot of money. Now, you probably should do this with a small real money account, even like $500, $1,000, maybe even smaller if you just don't have that much money on you. Because people are going to say, well, I'm not going to give you fake money. I'm going to give you real money. How do you trade real money? What does that look like? Because as many of you know, that jump from demo to real money is a mindfuck. It is a lot to take in, and it takes a while to get over that. So a lot of your more savvy rich people out there are going to want to see real money, but do both. And then once you have those results, and like I said, those results take a while, you can shop them out there online. Everybody has access to the internet. If you just learn how to market yourself and you can have documented proof of your results, like I said, guys, people are out there and they're not going to fall out of the sky and land on your lap. You actually have to go to them. But the internet is a perfect place to do that. To all of you who don't have a lot of money right now, to all of you who are in a country that doesn't allow you to make a lot of money, this is your ticket out right here. Write this down, abide by it, and make it your blueprint. Make it your ticket out. But just understand that it is going to take time. If you rush it and you get desperate, it is not going to work. But just know that the chance to get out of the situation you're in through Forex trading is worth however much time you put into it. So have patience. All right. Now, the other way, which a lot of you have already asked me about, is to trade for an actual company. And now, when I say company, there's a lot of Forex jobs out there. If you just go on, Glassdoor or Indeed or places like that, or there's actually some sites out there that are just dedicated to financial jobs. But you're going to find a lot of Forex jobs that really don't have a lot to do with actual trading. I would always look at these and I would always be very disappointed. A lot of times you're just assisting other traders. You're trying to sell their products. It's weird. It's not what you would expect it to be. So just know that you can go this route, but it probably in the end doesn't even matter how well you trade. I mean, they're going to be looking for college degrees and all this other nonsense. It's just not for me, but it could be for you, and it is out there. Just know. Prop firm, yay, that's what I do. These are firms that give you their money to trade on their behalf. Now, we're not going to talk in detail about this because this is actually going to be its own video, and this video won't be up for a while. I have to talk to the owners, and I have to get permission to figure out what I can disclose and what I cannot. And so this video is not slated until months down the line. But just know these things. Now, for one, it doesn't matter when I release this video. A lot of you guys have not done enough to really show anything to a prop firm, because what you're going to need is to follow that other people's money playbook. They're going to want to see results one way or another before you even step foot in the door. And so in these next few months, you need to be doing that. And also know with every single prop firm out there, there are always upfront costs. They are taking a lot of risk bringing you on. They are training you, which costs money and resources. And then there can be also desk fees. Now, do not be mad at this. If I was running a prop firm, I would do the same thing. But just understand, when I say, hey, take that $3,000 that you're trying to trade a real money account with and put it in your pocket for a rainy day, this is the rainy day. Because if you really want to be a prop trader, it's going to take some money up front. And if you can't do this, then there is always this right here. So you have options. And I have done my best to lay out the best options available for you. So in conclusion, congrats, you made it this far in a long video. That says something. That says that you probably have more patience than most people that watch this channel. That's a really good thing. Now you can go forth with a little more confidence now. But come on back to this video if you find your patience slipping away at any point. That is why I put these videos up, mainly so you can refer back to them later. I know I was a bit heavy-handed with the cursing, probably. I haven't played it back. I think I probably did it a lot more than usual. But this has to sink in, because this is the one thing that almost nobody has, and it's the easiest thing to lose over time, especially when things start going against you. But things are always going to go against you sometimes, and that's why you need to embrace the long game. I will repeat this phrase as many times as necessary because there is literally no other choice. You need to understand that this is the game everybody must play if they have any chance of making it. And then you need to put all of this in motion and do the things you have to do to make it. Hopefully you have a better idea of the path you need to take to get to where you want to be now, and about how long, at least at a very minimum, it's going to take you. And a lot of these things may have not been the answers that you wanted to hear, but when you have somebody that legitimately has your best interest in mind, this reality is exactly what you needed to hear, because it is actual reality. Now, if you like more of this, and you realize that there are no other videos that tell you things like this, because there are not, and I think I've made that obvious by now, hit subscribe and hit the bell, but only if you're willing to take this journey with us and understand just how long it's going to be before you see any real sustainable results over time. If that does not suit you, homeboy's waiting. If you're going to take a chance on a lottery ticket, take a chance. But when that doesn't work, come back. These videos will hopefully be on the internet for a very long time. And I hope you, dear trader, will be trading this market a very long time as well. Go get it.